hear you're ready for your dose of reality.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dr. Quack podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And today, we're not reviewing any videos. We're not reviewing any pay-per-views. Today, we have an open letter to professional wrestling, independent wrestlers, and Vince McMahon.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of topics to cover. We're going to start out with some of the positives. I'm going to let you say a positive first here.
All right. One of the big positives in over the last 10 to 15 years, wrestling has gotten more athletic. That's a good thing. Keep up the cardio work because we're getting a lot more 20, 30, 40-minute matches, which means the guys out there went away from the overweight early 90s, mid-90s, and we're starting to get some athletic people. Please keep that up, especially you independent guys. If you want to get noticed, one of the ways you're going to get noticed is that you look in shape.
That is definitely true. Another thing that came out recently, and this is something this week actually that came out, they have put signs everywhere in WWE around the wrestling building and everything, Performance Center, and said, no leg slapping. Yes, get rid of that. Thank you, Vince McMahon, WWE management, and others.
Yes, because if you listen to a boxing match, an MMA match, even an open fight just between two people, you don't hear big loud smacks when you're punching somebody. That's you hear the loud open hand, but there is no loud noises made when you're punching somebody. The slapping to make the sound effect for the legs for kicking or the sound effect for punching, thank you, it is going away. It should never have existed in the first place.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, professional wrestling has changed so much. I mean, from the days when I was a kid watching it to now, just so much in there. And there's some of the things back in the days I wish they would bring back. You know, one of the big things is, enhancement talent. A big thing that I felt that has been missed in professional wrestling. Everybody's got to be a star, no matter who they are. If they're Zack Ryder or Seth Rollins, it does not matter. Everybody's a star. No, some people are just enhancement talent. Some guys are there just to make people look good. That's their job.
Yes. Barry Horowitz, Steve Lombardi, Iron Mike Sharp, Barry O, the Mulkeys, the Johnson brothers. Those guys made a career and made a lot of money not winning matches. This is professional wrestling. It's not about winning and losing. It's about connecting with the crowd. And it's about building the talent and building the stars that the crowd wants to see. That's what it's all about. And enhancement talent is an excellent, excellent way to push your people along, to show something like that they're a strong monster or that they're a technical master. Enhancement talent covers all of those bases.
And you're also able to see their signature moves and finishers most of the time with enhancement talent. This is also something that gets on my nerves here. Signature moves, right? Back in the days, a finishing move as well. Back in the days, Macho Man used to be able to drop an elbow and then finish. Now you see that almost in every match. You can't get your signature moves and finishing moves over if they don't work.
Yeah, that's something that happens a lot in Japan. There's a lot of puroresu involvement. In the late 90s, in All Japan Pro Wrestling, their signature moves weren't finishers. They were signature moves because it's moves they got in they were known for. Finishers were forearms, elbows, strikes, kicks. So if you're going to have a finishing move, don't make it a signature move. Make it a finishing move. And to co-op with that, you don't always need to get your stuff in on every single show.
God.
If you're working a regular television show, a Raw or a SmackDown, It's okay to get one, maybe two, switch them up. So this is more to you guys in the back, the road agents. They don't always need to get their 5 or 6 moves in. Television writers don't know professional wrestling. They know television. It's your job to be the knowers of professional wrestling, to tell them what couple of things to get in so you can get it all in at the pay-per-view and make those moves mean something.
Yeah, I mean, exactly the point here. Television writers, why are you guys writing professional wrestling? We used to have, back in the days, we used to have bookers. We used to have promoters working with those bookers to come together to make great shows.
Yes, and those bookers don't know as much about television, which is where wrestling is nowadays, so it's okay to have a couple of television writers, but your booking committee should have a couple of workers on there as well that understand, hey, these things work, these things don't work. Be able to tell those TV guys, hey, here's what our road agents say are not working. You know, there seems to be a big disconnect. Communication is something that everybody in every facet of their working life discusses, whether you're turning burgers at McDonald's or you're in the secretary pool at some local store, or you're a CEO of a corporation. Everybody talks about a lack of communication, and right now there's a disconnect between the writers, the bookers, and the talent that something needs to be looked at and honestly addressed. How do we tell each other up and down the ladder what's right, what's wrong?
I mean, this reminds me a lot of WCW towards like late 99, 2000 forward, till it's closed, because there was so much disconnect. There was so much, everybody going, oh, we're going to change things 5 minutes before the show. Hi, Vince, can you please stop doing that as well? Thank you, WWE talent.
Yes, and that also goes to the independent circuit as well. I'm gonna switch focus now to independent circuit. You guys have a little bit more control over your gimmicks, so you can propose gimmick ideas. A lot of independent guys create their own gimmicks. Don't be afraid to hear, hey, that doesn't work. So, take criticism when you're on the independent circuit. If your move set or your match was not good and you've got a couple of vets coming up and talk to you, they're not there to cut you down. They're not there to drive you out. They're not there to keep their spot. It's the independent circuit. They're there to help you. Take their advice.
And the number one thing, dear independent wrestler, I get so tired of seeing. I have seen this in my career. I have still seen it to this day. When wrestlers want to go, why am I not going over? Why am I not getting over? Why am I not the champion?
Yes, my wrestling career started in 1999. I went almost 6 months before I got a first win, but I was connecting with the crowd. This is not a sport. It is a sporting event, so it should be treated as such, but it is not a sport. You're not competing for wins and losses. You're competing to connect with the crowd, make them remember you, care about you, and think about you. So it's not about wins or losses. It's about, how do I reach out to that person sitting in the very back row? Garth Brooks said it best. He used to walk around the entire arena and sit at different locations. How am I going to connect with that person way up there, or how am I going to connect with this person right in front of me so that everybody feels like they're involved? That's your job as a professional wrestler. Connect with the crowd and make them want to see you.
Right. The belt doesn't make the man. The man makes that belt.
Exactly.
My longest title reign was 28 days. I didn't need a title because I knew how to get over with the fans. And that's something that I preach to young wrestlers today. Learn how to get over with those fans.
And the longest time I carried a heavyweight title was for 9 months, but that was because people paid to see me get beat up. I had one title match where I got exactly this many offensive moves in. And the crowd paid to come back and see it happen again.
That's right. Independent wrestler, look, stop stealing everything from the WWE. Look, just because they do it doesn't mean you guys should do it. Usually it's the stuff that WWE bans that the independent scene should do more. They used to ban chops, and you'd see a lot more of that on the independent circuit.
Yes, and if you are going to steal something, we're not telling you stealing is a bad thing, because almost everything in wrestling has been done. It's very rare something brand new, never been seen before, hits the wrestling world. A lot of times it's a variation on a move. Johnny Ace was credited with creating what's now known as the Stone Cold Stunner, because it was the Ace Crusher, where he would go to his knees. Well, Stone Cold turned it into he sat down. So now we have the Stone Cold Stunner. And then somebody laid out with it, and now we have the Diamond Cutter or the RKO. They're all the same move. If you're going to steal something, don't steal from a little while ago. Steal something that's kind of been forgotten about a little bit, but then make it your own. And that includes talking too. You know, if you're going to have a catchphrase and your catchphrase sounds similar to someone else, phrase it a little bit different. Make it your own, because people get noticed for being different, not being the same as everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I want to move back to the major leagues here, the WWE and the AEW. Yeah, I'm calling them big leagues. But they need managers. Managers is such a strong thing that's needed in professional wrestling. I mean, most of these guys have a very tough time cutting a promo. Some of these guys, you have to mute the TV so you can get to the next segment.
Yes, and managers serve another purpose besides talking. Prime example, Cedric Alexander, he's an okay talker. Bobby Lashley's getting a lot better. They don't really need MVP, but MVP, what he does for them besides giving them somebody who can talk and focus their language, is immediate corrections and notations of what are happening in the ring. Sometimes when you're going out there to the manager, it's not there. Sometimes you're just pretending to talk like, hey, you know, whisper, 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 we're not saying anything. And then it's, hey man, did that move look good? Because it didn't feel right. Right? You know, that kind of stuff matters. Being able to have that instant correction, hey, I'm lost, what do I do next? Especially in the WWE world where it's so choreographed and it's down to the second to make sure they get in right before a commercial. You know, if you get lost and you've got no managers out there, you have to hope the referee hears it through his earpiece. You know, that doesn't always work either. So bringing back managers, especially when people get lost or get confused or their movesets aren't strong, they do more than just talk.
Yeah. I mean, they're well needed in this business. I mean, back in the days, in the 80s, you had so many managers. You had Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart, Gary Hart out there. You had Freddie Blassie. You had so many managers, and talent was great to have them. Now, you know, they also help with getting your match over. They also help when they see things that you're not doing out there in the ring that you should be. They're able to react to the crowd. So much stuff. I mean, you need them, and you need some big name talent. I mean, good God. Where are the household names? How many household names would you say is on the E right now?
Brock Lesnar, and he hasn't worked in a year.
Right. He's basically retired, might come back, nobody knows, right? Roman Reigns is maybe your second closest, but outside of that, there's no big names. This is why Vince is losing in the battle, because the hardcore fans, they're going to watch no matter what. They love professional wrestling. But the casual fans, those are the ones that are tuning into other shows outside of professional
wrestling. And this is where I'm going to go back to, there should be a couple of wrestlers on the writing committee. Because writing committees try and give everybody equal time. When you give everybody equal time, no stars are built. You have to build a star by making the crowd care about them. There's nothing wrong with writers. This is now to you, writers. There's nothing wrong with creating some A-list names. Right now, you're right, Roman Reigns is about the biggest thing we've got going for a big name. It's household style name. Now part of this is on the talent. Right now we're in a down slope of talent. Hopefully it's going to start coming up in the next couple of years, because wrestling is like a roller coaster. Sometimes we just have some bad talent. But Drew McIntyre, you know, that's a guy you can get around and do something a little more with. Focus in on him a little bit more. I don't think you did. Putting the belt on him doesn't mean you focused on it. Now you got to figure out a way to get the crowd to care about him, He's doing a good job, but there's things you guys could be doing to help him.
Yeah.
Prime example of that is putting him in some bigger feuds, putting him in some more, he barely made it out alive kind of feuds. Those kind of things make the crowd care because the crowd care about an underdog. If you're going to have a babyface champion, make him look powerful because he survived the odds, not just because he's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, so basically I feel like I got everything out. You got everything out?
I feel I did. I'm going to say one other thing. We've cut down professional wrestling here pretty hard about a lot of things. We're not destroying professional wrestling. We're not out there to crush it.
No.
Because we talk about it. We were professional wrestlers. We want to see it thrive and move forward. So hopefully you take everything to heart. And one last thing, focus on making yourself better and making your opponents and your talent better. Locker room leaders, your job is to help lift people. Please start doing that. And you younger guys, start watching what they're doing and trying to build the people up below you. Everybody should be lifting each other up, and I hope it starts happening again. The pandemic is kind of giving everybody a chance to pause, slow down, think about it a little bit. Let's see that everybody lifting everybody up so we all succeed.
That's right. I want to also thank you guys for tuning into this, but I want to tell you on March 17th, we're interviewing someone here.
Yes, we're going to be interviewing Christopher Barry D. He's a non-fiction criminal story writer.
Yeah, true
Talks
crimes.
about true crimes, true stories, talks about spree killers, serial killers. We're going to be sitting down and having a live interview with him on March 17th at 7 o'clock Central Time, I believe, is the time that we've billed.
Yep, St. Patty's Day.
He's coming to us live from London, England. So by all means, if you want to know something about true crime, and the reason we are interviewing him, one, to find out the story because he's a very, very fascinating man, but two, there's parts to his life, the stories, the true crime, how to connect with crowds, how to build rapport. We're going to ask him about that stuff to try and help you guys with how you cut a promo and how you can non-verbally connect with the crowd. So please check into our interview with Christopher Barry D.
Yeah, I mean, this will be streamed live. This will not be a YouTube video just yet. That YouTube video may come out later. But this will be streamed live on several pages on Facebook, including Talk of Champions, Whiteman's Wrestling World, the Wrestling Boiler Room, Luke Thompson's Designs, the VOH Inferno, the Dr. Quack podcast page, and Quack House Productions. So we're going to have it streamed all over, so you got plenty of opportunity to see it. Make sure you check out those pages as well. If you're a wrestling fan, they have a lot of great content and stuff to say.
Yep, and as far as going back to our Christopher Barry D interview, if you are a fan of true crime or serial killers, send it in to the Dr. Quack podcast. If you've got an idea for a question, we may look at your question, see if we can add it into our list of questions, because we're going to be sending those out to him, so we make sure that we have a good conversation with him so that we learn something, you learn something, everybody learns something about this very interesting man.
That's right, and if you don't think of a question until that day, you'll be able to stream it on there live. You'll be able to ask questions to him there. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, saying thanks for paying attention, thanks for listening. We hope we make the professional wrestling world better, and we hope you can help us make it better along the way.
Get your shit together. I'm out.